Hello and welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Solar Expanse in our Fission all the way run. Once again, reminder right up here in the top left here. The background music that I'm using here is not the game's default background music. Solar Expanse's music gets flagged on YouTube. Instead, I'm playing the Solaris one in the background. We're playing by the house rule, Fission all the way, which means that ships other than Fission ships we only get to build if it's explicitly called for by a contract, at least until Fission is fully researched. And at this point, that's actually pretty much just a couple of launch vehicles, so we're pretty close to the end of that, although we'll probably stick with Fission for quite a while. I think I'm going to at least do all the sort of utility and efficiency techs before we get to working through what's left of the tech tree at that point. So let's hop into the game. In the last one, we put the minimum mixture of nitrogen and oxygen on Mercury so that Mercury now has a positive habitability. It's still terrible, but we can now put colonists here. It's no longer negative. Negative is the point where it doesn't let you put anyone on. And if you're in the negatives, you can't put people there. That's what it tells you. For example, I don't think I can even unload people on units. Mercury is now at the point where we can. It's still got absurd temperature, don't get me wrong. It's 233 C, so it more than boils water on Mercury. And yet Mercury still has underground water deposits, so we'll do some water stuff on Mercury. Tech tree-wise here at the beginning of the stream, we're making the dash down to power satellites. So we got remote power upcoming into power sats. This is how I'm going to do most of the terraforming-based power stuff. Is we're going to do power station to generate power. Technically this is a solar power plant, so this gets more power in Mercury and the solar orbit. We're going to put it in Mercury orbit, because I think that's the proper place to put it. And then we have the orbital power receiver, which receives power in orbit. I think technically you still need remote transfer, which is the previous one in that line. Of course, when I click on it, it doesn't go straight through. Which gives me the land-based power receiver emitter. Oh, and transfers it to receivers. Okay, so we make power with this, and we can transfer it to orbital power receivers. You'll have to see exactly how powerful this is in Mercury orbit. I know it's going to be more than 20. We'll see the balance between those. Whereas the receivers receive it to 2,000. So even if it is 20, that's 100 power stations per receiver. And then we'll get the remote ones. We probably won't use the ground-based facilities, although we could. There's nothing necessarily stopping us. The receiver emitter situation there is, however, you have to make the power elsewhere to emit. So we're doing those two. I haven't completed wind turbine. We'll add that back to the queue. And then we've got artificial hibernation, or improved atmospheric recycling, artificial hibernation, and these ones, so we can get sort of the remaining supply consumption techs. I might do exoskeletons after that. But yeah, we're starting to get a lot of the explicitly, very effective techs done. We're going to start moving into sort of nice-to-haves, but aren't necessarily important ones. Some we'll have to grab exoponic detection. But yeah, electric impulsion at this point is kind of out of date, but we'll do that at some point just to do it. Same sort of logic with, well, actually, the chemical propulsion techs. The launch cost, I believe, still affects our fission-powered launch vehicles. So at some point we'll be coming in here for the second mod on here, which is the launch cost of all launch vehicles. So we can get another 10, 20, 40% hydrogen reduction for launching off of mostly Earth. Earth's going to be the big place for that. We are going to want to run down to the Tetratarn, so I'm not going to add too much to the tech tree at this point. I think we're going to get that done while we've got there. Yeah, ship-wise, I want to get more shipped to Mercury. We want to start colonizing Mercury. We've got 38 kilotons, 750 kilotons, and then 22 megatons of metal. I don't know how accessible those are. This one's probably like 1. to be fair, but I'm not sure how quickly it degrades there. The moon is still making fissiles. We're still going to probably use Martian, or the Luna fissiles combined with Io fissiles for making more arrays. We're going to keep expanding the fleet. We can't see the monthly balance because we haven't unpaused here, but we'll see that shortly. And then ongoing missions, we got 10 ongoing and 2 scheduled, which are people outbound to Mars. One of the achievements is to get 5K people on Mars, so we're working towards that. We got the housing there, so it's just getting them there, and once we get them there, we probably want to keep them fed. But yeah, let's let time unpause for a little bit so we can get an update on revenue. I think we're positive at the moment. Yeah, we're about 7,000 positive. So if we continue sort of our expansion of people and expansion of industry, we can probably expand shipping and production as well and keep a positive balance. Not so positive that we're really in a space where we want to be buying stuff. But we're at the point where we don't need to be worried about ongoing upkeep. Got 2 cyclical missions, Jupiter-Mars, and Jupiter-Earth. Dragging hydrogen down to these 2 planets. At some point I think I'll add Luna and maybe Mercury to that list, just to get hydrogen moving about the system. Do I have all my ships moving? We have 4 Hephaestai. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so all the Hephaestai are moving. I'm not sure if I got all the arrays because I've lost count of how many I have at this point. We got 1, 2, that's on the rain. 3, 4, 5, 6 moving. Is that all of them? So there's none at Mercury. We haven't put any at Venus yet. Those are planned missions. There wouldn't be any camped out at that location. We got the Kronos of Jupiter, and we got the Prometheus and Saturn. There's probably the Kronos happens to be sitting at. That's fair enough. Yeah, so I think all the ships are currently in transit or awaiting transit. Earth orbit. I want to get one more Kronos so we can have a Kronos camped out at Mercury for effectively doing Mercury launch. The alternative is to put enough people there that we can build a vehicle assembly and a launch pad so that we can use like a Tetraton or something to launch. But for the moment, I think a Kronos is the quick and dirty way to get that sort of launch capacity there. So that's a Kronos. Don't have the alloys there. We're 100 alloys short. We don't have the polymers there. We're 400 polymers short. I do have the radioactives. So we're looking for more alloys and polymers. I don't have enough at the moon yet. I could buy them on Earth, but we'll hold off. Okay, so let's get some time moving. Let's have some of these transfers complete. In fact, we've got a couple Earth orbit arrivals pending fairly quickly here. Okay, so we had... Okay, so the ships have returned from Mercury, from their depositing on Mercury. One was bringing in hydrogen, so we won't get stranded at Mercury. And the other one was delivering the terraforming gases itself. Okay. The question is, what do I want to drag to Mercury? And where do I want to make it? So the initial habitation on Mercury... So I probably want to bring food. Food, a mobile hab. Thinking we probably launch most of the stuff I need from Mars. So I might actually want one of those guys, if not both of those guys, to do the transit to Mars, to do the drop from Mars. Well, the launch from Mars, I suppose, in that combo. Or just have the Hephaestai do that. I might just have the Hephaestai do that. And have the other rain begin bearing of hydrogen down to Mercury. Yeah, let's go with that. So the Arraign here, I would like you to transit to Jupiter orbit. I'm bringing nothing up with you. We don't need very much to get up there very fast. I'll let you do a fastest burn just to get up there real fast. So I don't have to worry too much about it. That's the Arraign assigned, and then they have Festus. I want to transfer it to Mars because we're gonna pick up the construction, the initial habitation modules from Mars. I'm gonna say. So you only need 9 delta V to get there. Do I want to go that slow? That's only 9 months. Yeah, we'll go that slow. We'll take it nice and slow. In the meantime, at Mars, I think we want to start building the stuff we want to transit with. We've already got some mining modules. That might actually be enough mining modules to get to get Mercury properly started. I can ship the mobile hab. That seems reasonable. We're not really using it. So that's going. We ship a couple of those. I have radioisotope generators on Mars. We have enough power because of my solar expansion here that we could send those along as well. Sounds like a reasonable thing to do. So mining modules, yes. We'll send a couple construction modules. I'll build a couple more so that I can backfill them. These will technically be built before we launch. Nitrogen mobile refinery, we don't need fuel. We've got one mobile hab, that'll probably be enough to start. Mercury has its own metal, so as long as we send it food, it'll be fine. There's maybe an argument to get some radioisotopes, radioactives down here to build radioisotope generators. Do I want orbital construction capacity in Mercury? Yes. So let's, in fact, actually I'm going to be wanting a lot in Mercury. Let's say we want 2. So I'm going to build 2 of those. And I can't build the second one right now. Okay, we build the one. And we'll see if we get the other one built in time. So let's get time passing. Earth orbit arrived at Jupiter. So I've got another Arraign at Jupiter. Let's schedule you on another cyclical mission. Mission planning. This is a Jupiter orbit to... We'll do Mercury orbit here. This is the new Arraign. And you are actually going to be a cyclical mission. This is going to be a hydrogen delivery mission. At Jupiter, add hydrogen. At Mercury, add nothing. You need no launch vehicles because it's orbit to orbit. Flight pan, optimal. Mission ends, never. There we go. That's hydrogen supply to Mercury. We'll get one more setup. That will be hydrogen to Moon. And then I think we'll be pretty good. We may want to add more effectively to some of these missions because first of all, we need a lot of hydrogen on Earth. And second, some of these transits, because doing optimal transits, are going to be a bit slow. Construction could be done on Mars. Okay, so that's enough to get the next orbital under construction. Anyway, within the 2 construction modules, I'm going to send the 2 orbitals. I'm going to send the probe, all the mining modules, and the mobile hab, and the radioisotope generators. We'll pull the radioisotope generators sooner rather than later because they're only going to provide initial power. Mercury has pretty good power inherently. Of course, I'm taking the radioisotope generators, so I should be continuing to build solar panels to backfill as a stopgap, as the alloys are available. Backfill. The orbital construction is ready. We are just waiting. Transits. Solar array complete on Mars. That is cyclical mission, actually doing a hydrogen drop-off at Mercury. Mercury is a convenient place both to go to and leave from, because transits on it, on that trajectory, are pretty common. Get a few more solar panels going. Remote power transfer complete. Saturn orbit arrived at Mars. Lutetia arrived at Mars. So Lutetia was probably another delivery of rare metals. Probably send you back to Lutetia. Yeah, I think one of those is going to go right back to Jupiter. The other one's going to go back to Lutetia. Oh, and I should probably do hydrogen resupply at Lutetia. Lutetia's not really that desperate for a lot of hydrogen. Although I do want to be fairly aggressive at pulling stuff off of Lutetia. Okay, so one of you back to Lutetia. Mars, Lutetia, Mars orbit to Lutetia. Do I want it to take 2 years? I can say no. Although, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, you can have like 200 tons to go a bit faster. Yeah. And the other one's back to Jupiter. Oh, we obviously missed the obvious launch window here. So we're gonna want to burn at least some fuel to be more efficient about it. Here we go. Okay, at some point I need to drag more polymers and alloys to Earth orbit, or else we're just gonna keep cranking out ships we've been cranking out. Instead of the Kronos. I need a Kronos. Could keep doing a Reigns, but I think I really want a Kronos, which is 400, 400. Yeah, so I gotta get some polymer there. Or we're gonna launch polymer from Earth. And back into negatives again. We got people in transit. We'll wait until those people get to transit. We'll worry about that at that point. Going. Solar array constructed at Mars. To be fair, all the solar arrays are probably not helping. They're relatively expensive from an upkeep standpoint. Although when we get to terraforming, this is going to allow me to support a lot more people on Mars. Okay, so we had Earth orbit to Jupiter arrived. Mars to Earth orbit. So Jupiter, you are going to be on a cyclical mission. To the moon. That's not the moon game. The moon. And actually lunar orbit. That's the rain. And I'm forgetting I need to click the cyclical button. The rain. You're basically doing hydrogen resupply to the moon. Here we go. Now, these automated ones, because they're taking the optimal route, are not putting hydrogen in the hydrogen tank to just drag that little bit of extra. I could otherwise be doing, but that's fine. The other one was a Earth. No, Mars arrives at Earth. Mars arrives at Earth. No, Mars arrives at Earth orbit. That is my crew compartments ready for descent. Okay. Earth orbit, orbital payload container. Take no people, because the whole point of this is to get people into orbit. Which I suppose means I need 400 more people on Earth. Let's hire more people. That was more people than I was expecting. Whoops. Do I return them? Yeah. Okay. Put some of those back. The maximum that'll take back is 554. Okay. So Earth orbit, orbital payload container, take people. And supplies. Orbit, please. On a Pelican. We'll pay the small amount of money just to get people launched. That doesn't mean I'm out of hydrogen. Okay, so if we can, I want to get rid of the extra people because I don't have space for in the Earth population here, and I need more fuel. I don't even have very much fuel in orbit. Okay, so I need to kind of wait for another transit window. Fair enough. Okay, I want to fire myself down below that threshold, so let's free up another 200 space. And we got another Earth arrival. That's Jupiter Earth orbit. That was a hydrogen delivery. Why does that not feel like that was a hydrogen delivery? Because that was a Hephaestus coming in. So that wasn't a hydrogen delivery. Although that's what I was missing mostly for the fissiles. Okay. I brought polymers back from... Okay. I have the Hephaestus do the run out to Luna? Because all I need is another 100 alloys and I can get the Chronos build that I want to get built. And Luna has those alloys. Okay. So, alloys, Earth, orbit, on the Hephaestus. Send 200 and 100 exotics and 500 electronics. And I'll fill the rest of the cargo bay with glass. Ride the Pelican up. Get that transit underway. Okay, so, whoops. Earth orbit should now be able to produce a Chronos. There we go. I'm alloy short for producing more arrays. We probably still want to continue bringing more arrays or more alloys in. That is a start. Now, the Hephaestus. What do I want the Hephaestus to do? I've already got one on the way out to Mars, right? Flying empty out to Mars. Earth orbit to Mars orbit, empty, yes. It's maybe an argument that we're starting to reach the point where the Hephaestus are a little obsolete. Well, that doesn't necessarily stop me from doing much with them. I could definitely do with more hydrogen in Earth. I'm going to send you to do the proverbial milk run out to Jupiter. Please go get more hydrogen. Do you want to give you some fuel so you can go faster? Say like 200 fuel. Yeah, that gets you a lot faster. Let's do that. We've got someone going out to Jupiter already. We've got lots of inbounds. We've got lots of missions flying at this point. We've got 11 active missions. Oops, that's a lot of deliveries. Earth orbit to Mars, Earth orbit to Mars, Earth orbit to Mars orbit, Earth orbit to Lutetia, or Mars orbit to Lutetia. So the Lutetia is probably dragging more stuff back to Mars. The question here on balance is what do I do versus rare versus metal, and I'm just going to split the difference. So the rain, I want you to go to Mars, and this is literally a dump on Mars, so that is an appropriate flight command of rain. Half the cargo hold's going to be rare, the other half is going to be metal. Optimal transit, a bit slow. You're running loaded, so we'll take the slow transit. Okay. The other ones is Earth to Mars, Earth to Mars, Earth to Mars. So, what arrived at Mars? I got 2 Hephaestus and 1 Prometheus. The Prometheus is probably, yeah, that's my crew. Delivering crew module being delivered. So those probably want to go back. And I delivered hydrogen to orbit. Okay. Oh, and one of these was also to transit the supplies down to Jupiter. Okay, so the Pelican's going to be a little busy. Because I need to launch, recover, prepare, and launch again. Pelican does have a 49-day usability window, so it'll be back up pretty quickly. I think I'm going to do the Mercury launch first. So that is orbital construction to Mercury orbit, Mars to Mercury orbit on Hephaestus, and module, 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 module. Probably getting the gist here. So, orbital construction, mobile hab, radioisotope generators to provide baseload power, mining. We're going to need a probe to figure out how good the deposits are. We're going to need some construction modules to build some stuff out. I could take 20 people with us, but I'd rather launch them from Earth. We're going to send the mobile hab first so that we have guaranteed space for their arrival. Mars also has a decent supply of food, and that's with 4,000 people here. The food improving techs have definitely kicked in here, and we're producing enough food. And I've dropped enough carbon that we're not in a rush there, okay. So let's take some food with us. For the initial colony. Well, we also use food, we use supply, I say food, supplies. We use supplies in setting up habs, so if we end up deciding that we want to do a larger drop than the mobile hab will support, we'll want to probably have the construction equipment build housing before people get there. So 600 supplies in the first transfer here is not a bad plan. Okay. Ride the Pelican up. This is a deep dive into the gravity well, so it's going to be pretty intense. Although it is surprisingly fast. I don't even think this is a situation where we save much time using fuel. I'm wrong. We save a lot of time using fuel. I don't need to save that time, though. We'll do optimal, we'll do minimum fuel. Okay, and then I need to pass enough time that we get that Pelican launch, and we do actually get that Pelican launch fairly quickly, so now I can start planning the next mission, which is the return of the crew compartments. So these crew compartments want to go back to Earth orbit. They're going to ride on the Vestine. We're going to ride empty. And empty. Assuming I can get them all to fit. I think I can get them all to fit if they're empty. Yeah. And I can bring some food. Earth orbit probably desperately needs some food. Why did you stop at 360? Do more than that. There we go. Right, the Pelican, yeah, that's the crew modules. And that, the 7, 8 month transfer is perfect. Optimal. No hydrogen. There we go. And again, we're moving very rapidly through Parasat, so if anything, we're going to have Parasat well before I need it. Because I got to get the mining and the transit going to get the power facility set up. Although that's it also has the orbital power plant, so the orbital power plant is probably the one we want to run initially. Okay, the Kronos is complete. I probably don't need the Kronos here. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with that Kronos. The Kronos is for getting stuff off of Mercury prior to major human habitation of Mercury. Do I want to bring anything down with me with that Kronos? I know I want the Kronos down there. The question is, do I grab and bring anything along with me? Remote power emitter on the ground is glass, which you can make in situ. Electronics, all I gotta bring is nobles, and we can make that in situ. Exotics. I bring in radioactives, I can make in situ. Alloys. Orbital power is arguably even cheaper with glass and alloys I can make in situ. Glass, alloys, and rares, all which I can make in situ. Okay. So it's do I want to bring anything to jumpstart is really what I'm seeing here. Besides modules, of course. Oh, we even have radioactive, so I just have to bring some nobles in. Now, I could have the Kronos do that. That would not be a terrible plan. Right now, my nobles come from Mars, Jupiter, kind of Mars and Saturn. So do I make them run up to Saturn and come down with nobles? Well, this was Titan. I can make them run up to Titan and come down with nobles from there. Bring nothing, you need no help to launch. Oh, and you're in orbit, so I should not do an Earth orbit, or Earth to Earth orbit, or Earth to Titan. I can do Earth orbit to Titan, save the fuel. 7-year transit. That might be a bit slow. In which case, I'm looking probably more to Martian pickup. The Mars actually has a full load of... Yeah, so we probably do Mars, not Titan, because it'll be faster to go to Mars and get down to Mercury. Much faster. Optimal transit, take no fuel with you, other than what you need to get going. Off you go. "51 years left on that carbon." We're still mining carbon, so we still got carbon to transit if I need to move carbon around. Mars, orbit to Jupiter. Mars arrived at Mercury. So they have arrived. We have orbital construction in place. It's now time to drop the stuff to Mercury itself. Orbital payload container. Everything that can be added, because the orbitals, the moment you set them up in orbit, they can't be moved anymore. Which is why we launch straight to orbit. Everything else is for Mercury itself. There we go. The Hephaestus could leave. I might have the Hephaestus leave. The other thing we arrived was Mars to Jupiter orbit, which was the rain. So I've got resupply to Earth, Mars, Mercury, Luna. Any other places I want delivery to? Yes, Lutetia. So you're going to be the Lutetia one. At which point it will be double ups, or I'll be manually controlling them. In which case, I probably won't be sending them to Jupiter. They'll be getting sent to wherever I need them. Inner belt, Lutetia. Cyclical mission. The rain. Add hydrogen. Take nothing back. Need to launch vehicle. This is an orbit to orbit. Done. Now, what do I want the Hephaestus to do? Probably go to Earth to help with the transit of people. Because if everything goes according to plan here on Mercury, Mercury is not going to need too much brought in. It needs that one shipment of nobles we're working on. Should just send someone to Mars, right, to do that. Yeah, we got the Kronos going to Mars. The other thing it would be wanting is water. Do I have you do the run up to Titan to pick up water? I think the answer is actually yes. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to make the burn all the way down in one because there's quite a bit of delta between difference between Titan and Earth, or Titan and Mercury. So Mercury orbit to you're technically going to go to Titan orbit. Doesn't really matter. Best eye empty. Launch vehicle none. And you can see sort of there's a peak launch area, or launch window area here. And then everything else besides that's pretty bad. Although coming off of Mercury, it's pretty frequent. Right, it's basically, when do you have the appropriate alignment between Titan and Mercury? And when you've got that, it's a long straight line. And when you don't, it's horrid. So we're going to do optimal minimum fuel. I don't need the water for a while. Okay, let's let some time pass. The objects, more importantly, the probe lands, so we start getting an idea of what's harvestable. The biggest metal deposit is 0.8 deposit. The second biggest is 0.3. And then we got 22 megatons. How terrible. 0.07. So it is more accessible than the worst deposit on Mars, but it's less accessible than the one we're currently mining. But that's the worst it gets. Okay. And we hit an Earth at Jupiter. That's the Hephaestus arriving, okay. I think you just need to do a big haul of just bring more hydrogen to Earth. Jupiter orbit to Earth, best time. Bringing hydrogen, and I want you to bring your fuel tank full of hydrogen on the optimal window. .5 for that kilotons of rare metals. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm gonna... I brought Mobile Hab in here. At the rate that it's going to take me to get stuff off of Earth to come down here, I think we will be able to just build some habitation straight up. We are high enough radiation here on Mercury that it's orbital or underground habs. Interestingly enough, that's probably from a resource standpoint what we want to do anyway. Yeah, food is relatively cheap, and we're conserving metal doing that. So a couple underground habs. I'm going to splurge, and I'm actually going to put enough habitation space for 500 people here on Mercury. And we can see the water deposit is pretty inaccessible. And then we can see the atmosphere we dumped off earlier, so we've got an idea of what all the deposits look like. We're not expecting to run out of rare metals, but I think the rare metals are always going to be worse than... Although, that's 200 kilotons versus 9 megatons. So, anything that's metal is better on Mercury, okay. So most of our cyclical missions are running. We've got scheduled missions, Lutetia to Mars, Mars to Earth to drop off the modules, Earth to Mars for the Kronos to go grab Noble so we can do circuits in situ for Mercury. Jupiter to Lutetia has arrived. That was the Hephaestus coming in. So I think we can have you go back to Earth. The moon. Yes, the moon could use more metal. The moon could use more... Well, the moon could definitely use more metal. It could even use more rare metals. Okay. You're gonna get delivery to the moon. Not Earth, the moon. Old Luna. Fission to Luna. Optimal transit. No, do the unoptimal one that is offering us the first suggestion. That'll work. we're gonna... Oh, I'm gonna have to bring some carbon in. Where am I gonna yoink my carbon from? Suppose Mars is the place to do that from. Well, less Mars and more Phobos. Phobos. So power satellites are done. Okay. If I wanted to start power satelliting, I need to put... Oh, I need to be in orbit to see the ones I want, because we're going to do the orbital one. The orbital one is 120 glass, 30 alloys. So I could be shipping a decent amount of good old Luna glass. Yes, Luna glass. I think we will send some Luna glass to jumpstart that. And we can see how much power it's going to make. I now have enough metal on Mars to do the planetary magnetosphere generator, so let's get that first one going. And go back to making more solar arrays. The rest I'm planning on building in orbit. So I'll probably swap over to trying to get the remainder of the oxygen out of the ground, followed by the water. Those are done. Anyway, Mars starts the radiation of 10, so we're going to use the planetary one to reduce that a little bit. The rest we'll probably do using orbital ones. Two habitats done on Mercury. We had Mars arriving at Earth orbit. Was that was modules. People. Okay. I suppose I have carbon on Earth. So if I have the launch tonnage, and I don't right now, because we don't have enough hydrogen. If I had the launch tonnage, I could launch the hydrogen from Earth and the people, and we can get going to Mercury. Okay, so we're waiting for hydrogen right now. So Earth orbit has like a kiloton, and the Moon. It's actually got a decent amount in Luna orbit. Do I fetch that? Yes, let's fetch that. Let's send the Hephaestus over to Luna orbit to do it'll be trip there and back twice. That'll get us 3K. 3K will get us a decent launch. So, Luna orbit to Earth orbit with the Hephaestus. Grab hydrogen. No launch vehicles are doing an orbit. Take full fuel, because we want to basically be moving hydrogen to Earth, so we can take it out of the orbit. Earth orbit arrived at Mars. That was the Kronos. Okay, so the Kronos can now do the launch of noble gases to Mercury. Mars to Mercury with the Kronos. My understanding is the Pelican is a more fuel-efficient launch vehicle, so we're just using the Kronos as a spacecraft here. I'm going to launch it on the Pelican to save some launch. And we are going pretty heavy, so this is This is a full transit here. Still only 5 months. Mercury, everything to Mercury is fast, but everything to Mercury is expensive. Okay, so Earth orbit now has more hydrogen. Do I want to take another trip over to Luna? Sure. Yes, sure. Earth orbit, I'm also technically saving up, I suppose. Wrong panel, that panel. Get into the rain. We don't have the alloys. I've got the exotics. I've got the fissiles. I've got the electronics. Could I pick up the the alloys from the moon? Yes. In fact, I could pick up enough to do 2. Let's have the Prometheus also make the run over. Okay, so the Hephaestus, which is an orbit, is going to do a hydrogen transfer to Earth orbit. And then the Luna items are going to get moved via the Prometheus to Earth orbit. So Luna to Earth orbit on the Hephaestus. Bring over the 190 alloys, the 150 exotics, the 50 polymers, the 500 electronics. Not the 500 electronics, so you don't have the space for that. Close enough, that'll work. Ride the Pelican up. We're using lunar planetary hydrogen, which is fine. That's why we wanted to minimum burn on that one. There we go. So now in Earth orbit, I can begin construction of, I believe, 2 arrays. Yes. And one of those will handle transit of people down to Mercury. Am I going to launch this from Earth, this mission, or from orbit? From orbit, I'm going to say. So Earth orbit, please deposit on Earth, using the orbital payload container, 2,000 tons of hydrogen. Also deposit most of the crew compartments. Empty. So we have 10 type Ls. I am going to drop all but 4 of them. AKA, those 4 are going to be taking the 400 we have in orbit somewhere. Dropping the other ones because we want to refill orbit once orbit is empty. That makes sense. And then we'll drop the smalls, also empty. They're a little less efficient to drop, I suppose. Well, to reorbit. Here we go. And then I want to take that carbon to orbit, so that we have carbon at Mercury to start up farming. And the people. Well, to go out with the people, I suppose. Carbon. I'll actually click to Luna because I can't. Down there, you can't click on Earth orbit when you're on Earth. Orbital payload container. 1200 is what we can do on a single Pelican. Yeah, and I need to save up some more hydrogen to get the people ready to leave. But we've got enough that when the rain is done, I can immediately do my next launch to Mercury. Because we got the carbon up there, we got the people up there. We can take some of the food here, so they've got food for the trip. And they'll have habitation when they arrive, so we'll ship 400 people even though they got housing for 500. And then that will be allowing us to very rapidly build out Mercury. Started off a little bit early with metal mining. Use the metal mining to get alloy mining, or alloy refining. Alloy refining allows us to do glass. Glass plus alloys equals solar, and then we can show off how good solar is on Mercury. Letitia to Luna. Probably bringing in more metal and more rare metals. I think I just have you do the return trip. Yeah, we have you do the return trip. I'm going to have to use the Pelican launch to get the hydrogen, because the hydrogen is all on the moon. So we'll do a Luna, not a Luna orbit. You're going to need the Pelican to get the hydrogen for your return trip. And then just don't waste it. Take the 13 tons. The Hephaestus are now going to be focused more and more on slow and steady wins the race, because they're outdated and getting closer to being fully surplus to requirements, I think. Rain done at Earth. So you will be taking the people, the food, the carbon. You ever bring some glass? Would be tempting to bring some glass. So what do I need for more communications lines? Glass, alloys, or the alloys and the polymers are what's holding up on Earth. Okay. So, Rain to Mercury. Earth orbit to Mercury. The rain that's been built. Crew that's in orbit. The carbon that's in orbit. I have random water up here. Let's take the random water along as well. I don't want to take anything else. Oh, we probably want to take some food. The transit to Mercury should be fairly fast. Take 100 tons of food. Because it's a Mercury transit. I say that and be proven very, very wrong. Okay. Oh, okay, actually, so if I do optimal, we can do it. There we go. So, 4 months, 27 days down. We've bringing along enough food for over a year, which is more than enough. What was going on if I did the full thing is we've got some sort of mild rounding on 142 here. That's what's going on. So I did optimal, it sorts itself out, saying the minimum somewhere in here is also fine as well, but there's no point in recognition. Spacecraft from Mars to Mercury. What were you... Mars arrived at Mercury, yes. Oh, that was the Kronos arriving. So our noble gases have arrived, so we can now build electronics in situ. So the electronics facility requires some nobles. Very little nobles, but it's mostly silica, rares, both are on planet. So we can do electronics in situ. We got radioactives in location, so we can do the exotic alloys. We can do glass. We can do everything but polymers. If we ship in carbon, we can do polymers, but probably just ship polymers in, because we're actually mass reducing by converting carbon to polymers. So let's get these people to Mercury. Now, I suppose, in the meantime, what do I want to be building so they can immediately do stuff on their arrival? I'm gonna do a double metal mine. Get some baseline metal into a alloy smelter. Ooh, hydroponics. Forgetting I'm gonna need some hydroponics. Maybe I only need one. We'll put one close to the beginning of the queue. I'll put the other one at the end. It is 400 people I'm dropping off, so I would not be surprised if they're gonna go through the food relatively quickly. And they are in transit. Jupiter to Earth. What was I dropping? Hydrogen. That is my hydrogen. Okay, so I can do another launch of people to orbit. Okay, that's a full ship to orbit. Or full Pelican to orbit. Go. Here we go, we got them in orbit. We got enough food up there, so they're not going to starve. And once again, we're up, so I'm waiting for more hydrogen on Earth. That's the Rain building. So it was Hephaestus doing the milk run. Do I want more milk, I suppose, then is the question. I think the answer is yes. I need more hydrogen. Okay, let's have both Hephaesti. We've got camped out here. Go to Jupiter to grab more hydrogen. So that is another Rain built at Earth, and that is the colonists arriving on Mercury. So 400 colonists are going to go through the food supply in 7.1 years. I'm not going to worry as much about getting the Rain to be on Fission. I'm going to run the clock here until we can get the hydroponics moving to see if we will be... Oh, we got the achievement, Unlimited Solar Power for colonizing Mercury. And we completed one of those techs. That was the improved atmospheric recycling, which is decreased supply consumption. Convenient because we were going through supplies on Mercury. That has reduced the consumption. So we're now just short of 10 years. We'll see if the one hydroponics farm here is going to be enough to support the Mercury population. And it is. With the supply consumption tech reduction and the little bit of terraforming that we've done to Mercury, we can support all 400 mercurial colonists off of a single hydroponic farm, which, yes, will probably make the hydroponic farm here, second one, surplus. Let's cancel that for the moment. We're going to need more water. We're not making water fast enough. So I'll have to add a couple of water mines to the queue. In fact, actually, if I let's prepare ahead for potentially taking the mining modules away and queue up 3. Should be positive. Okay, and we're more than an hour into this part, so it's time for a part break. But I think this is a good place for a part break. 400 colonists delivered to Mercury. Monthly balance still positive. We're at 12k positive here. Getting more people into space, or more importantly, I suppose, to Mercury has helped with that. And the main bottleneck right now is launch costs off of Earth. I need to get people off of Earth to send elsewhere, to basically afford to run more and more arrays, to ship more and more hydrogen across the solar system, so that we can go places. But Mercury, going forward, should be able to sort of use the mercurial resources to build and extract more mercurial resources. So things are off to a good start. And has it completed? No, it hasn't completed. We are 38% into the first of the radiation reductions of Mars. Actually, probably the cheapest one, because it's the only one we're going to build on planet. I'll probably end up putting the rest in orbit, honestly. Yeah, probably put the rest in orbit. And then we'll mostly use solar panels to power Mars's industry, growing industry. I do have a decent number of polymers on Mars, so we may try to get some more materials off of Mars, and get more terraforming, or not terraforming, more communication satellites up. But that will be in the next one. If you're watching on YouTube, we will have another part up tomorrow, because we're going to record another 3 parts tonight. If you're watching on Twitch, feel free to hang around. I'm going to take a short break here to get up, stretch the legs, sip a little bit of tea. I'll try to get your ad break out of the way, so you get 1 fewer ad breaks while we're playing during the next hour. So until the next part, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part and or stream, and bye for now.